Hi, this evening we're here with Rick and Jamie with Brothers and Sisters in Arms Dog Training. How y'all doing today?
That's bad. How are you?
Good.
All right, we just watched a session of y'all training. It was very entertaining.
I bet.
To say the least.
So Rick, what is Brothers and Sisters in Arms Dog Training?
We are a nonprofit organization that trains service dogs for veterans as well as their family members or active duty service members and their family members. All of our dogs, we will attempt to train your dog first, and then as long as your dog is willing to be trained,
Like Sarge here.
Like Sarge here, yes.
Yeah, we forgot to introduce Sarge.
Hi, Sarge.
Yeah.
Come here.
Say hi.
So how do you do, well, you just said you try to train their dogs first, but if their dogs don't work out, how do you decide what dogs to train then?
We have a few shelters that we go through.
We do have a few shelters. We go through a few rescues that we actually use. What we do is we look specifically towards the veteran's needs or the family member's needs. From there, we pick a dog based on the temperament. We do a temperament test on the dogs. The local shelters and the rescues have been very helpful with helping us weed out what we're looking for and bring them.
What is the biggest obstacle you face when pairing dog and handler?
Temperament.
Temperament, because what we feel, a lot of veterans have an idea of what type of service dog they actually want. But a lot of them want pit bulls, a lot of them want Rots and Dobermans,
Shepherds
and stuff, and that's not necessarily what you're going to get.
Right.
Because
Well, apologies, we had to change venues. It was getting a little dark outside, so we came inside for a little while. Sarge is making good use of the couch over there.
he is always wanting to be a cat.
So, are you guys Assistance Dog International certified, or do you follow their guidelines? Or
We are, and we actually follow their guidelines. We do a combination of the CGC, which all dogs are required to do it. But we combined the CGC, your
which is Canine Good Citizen.
Canine Good Citizen. I'm so sorry. Yes, it's your Canine Good Citizen test. We do the urban, the community, and just regular basic. The ADA, we follow their guidelines with specific tasks towards specific handlers, whether it's deep pressure therapy or bringing them out of a room, sweeping a room if needs be, turning on lights, and of course comfort. Comfort. Actually, Sarge is more comfortable. The ADI, with the ADI program, you have to basically write your own program. You're building your own program, and you have to follow those guidelines for 2.
Do you think there should be a centralized certification process for service dogs?
That's a tricky question because a lot of people, I get that daily. Because you do have your old school dog trainers, the ones who've gotten more knowledge than I do. Like together, I think what Phil come up with was out of all of them, they have over 160 something years if you combined all the years of experience training. So it is kind of tricky. We need to focus on and look for is that everybody follows the same guidelines for every service dog.
So y'all work mostly with veterans and
We do.
the service dogs?
correct.
Are there? Yeah, because watching the training, you had a little boy out there too,
Yes.
working on becoming a handler
Yes.
or
Correct.
handling.
Yes,
That was
yes.
his dog.
That is his dog.
Okay.
That's Sassy, and she actually listens to Mom better than she actually listens to the handler.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. But yes, we do. We also see their family members.
I was going to say, now that brings me to my next question. If somebody wanted to get an already trained service dog, and at that point they just need to learn how to handle the dog and bond with the dog?
If they were to pay for one, we can take some of the great epilepsy companies. There's one in Utah. We actually had a seizure client who actually was going to them, and it's a lot of fundraiser, a lot of money. You're looking anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000, and then you actually have to pick up and move there for a month because you basically what it seems like, and it's a lot of pressure on the person that has seizures. But these dogs they've been living with people with seizures, been raised, very, very specific training, but they pretty much parade the dog around in the room, and that dog picks your scent, and then they work with you for a whole month, which is a fantastic program because they're some great people, because I've met a bunch of them through the years, but, you know, in this area you cannot do that. You cannot.
Okay, so just on average, say I needed an emotional support dog and I have 2 and I wanted to bring 1 in, and what would the cost of that, just on average or ballpark?
If it's your dog,
With us?
It's free.
free.
It's
Oh, okay.
With us, it's free.
Okay.
We do not charge. You can't.
Be comfortable,
Be
dude.
comfortable. I don't want you uncomfortable.
Okay, so now we've discussed the price of this and everything. What about financial assistance? Is there any aid for that?
The VA has several different programs that they have, and that help the veterans cover the needs that they.
They to go more into detail with it, they actually have the veteran. Yeah, I'm the more detailed person. They do, if you have problems with spaying and neutering, they work with dogs who have to have surgeries. They have dogs, for cats too, as a matter of fact, for blindness and stuff like that. The VA has some wonderful programs that they will actually link you up with. Through them, they actually can help you financially with a dog, or like now, with everything going on, we actually are able to do, they're actually sending people our way and so forth. When it comes to, he's like, what's that noise? As far as with us, we actually, through the donations of others, we actually, we help with the spay and neuter and the vet costs. And then, of course, we get the vests, their patches, their IDs, and leashes if they need it, bowls, dog food, and so forth.
So how long does a dog train to be able to be labeled as a true service dog?
We say a minimum, that's so funny. We say a minimum of a year. That is our standard when we talk to people, because we do cover the blocking and the covering, of course, as you've seen out there. The extensive, the one-on-one training afterwards, the deep pressure, the comfort, picking up objects, lights, stuff, that's more in depth, and that's a one-on-one training type situation.
Okay, so what do you guys think of people parading their dogs around as service dogs?
Y'all kill me. Y'all kill me. That's what y'all do.
I mean, I
drives me crazy. Yes, they actually give us a lot of grief. A lot of grief. The fake service dog, it actually bit one of our dogs, like it charged one of our dogs. So that kind of, yeah, those situations, so that's what gets us, because it actually hurts our service dog.
Now, are the dogs required to be dressed like patched vests, ID tags or something? Or is that a federal or state?
Yes, they are. Even if it's hot outside, they are required, as one of our handlers out there, he actually had a service dog lead, but they're required to have on their collars our patch, our brothers and sisters patch. They have a set of IDs, and then of course they always have their prescription. So
you mentioned earlier deep pressure.
Yes.
You train with that too. What is that exactly?
It is, let me see if I can get Sarge to do it.
I'm thinking doggy massage, you know.
No, some days, you want to move your dog and massage his body. Yeah, no, Sarge, come here. He's like, no. It would be better if I could show you. Deep pressure therapy is where your dog, we'll use an example of high anxiety. If I'm in an anxiety attack, as nose punch as dog trainers, they will start bumping you, telling you it's time to come out. It's time to come out. It's time to come out. And then if that doesn't work, they'll they're taught to put their feet on you to push down to give you that pressure, and then most of the time, 90%, depending on the situation and the intensity of it, you can to take your dog and to hold your dog, and your dog will start leaning its body on you, pushing down on you in some way, shape, or form. That's what we consider deep pressure. So, Riddick's one for Kelly.
Yes.
Rick's wife, Kelly, has a service dog named Riddick. And every time she walks into a building,
Her anxiety
goes and blood pressure just goes. Well, her dog, his moment is a whoof, it's up. So she has to reach down there to start bringing her blood pressure down, and then he calms down, he lays down, he's the best dog in the world. But it always scares everybody, so we're just like, he's just saying hi. So that's the best way for us to do it, to kind of, because he's really big. He's huge.
He's a husky mastiff.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's huge.
He's a rather large.
Yeah, he's a rather large, huge, fluffy dog who has these crystal eyes that really look kind of, when he does look at you, he's kind of a little scary looking, but that's his cue to his handler, just telling her to bring it down. Because Kelly, he cannot lean into Kelly. Kelly will put a cane. He will actually knock her down.
Yeah.
Size-wise, he'll knock you down anyway, but he cannot, because her stability is off as well, because he's actually got a lot of different uses, but he's the stability dog as well, mobility. So.
Okay. Well, one last thing, and I think earlier you said this was all Rick's shindig here. So,
Here we go.
Rick, is there anything else, a message that you want to get out to the viewers, to the public?
Service dogs are great. I see a difference in a lot of my veterans. Ain't gonna do it.
Okay.
We see a lot of, the difference in their lifestyles. We're able to pull the veterans out. Personal experiences, we're able to get them out in public. We've had a lot of, thank you notes written from wives and spouses of, you gave me back my husband. I can't fix everything, but if I can pull you out so you're not sitting on the couch every day eating chips and watching TV, your dog gets you out. He forces you to get you out. He brings you out in the public, into the world where you remember it was like. You really do. With Kelly, I'm gonna keep throwing Kelly out here, his wife. If you ever met her, she's a hoot. But Kelly, it saved her. And that was one of the biggest things when I first talked to Kelly and spoke to Kelly. How she was then and how she is now is two different people. She's alive because of her dog, and he has his wife because of his dog, her dog. So, yeah, they're great. They're fantastic. If you're looking for a nonprofit, please donate to us. We're grateful for it, please.
And the one thing I do want to throw in there, it got me. I would prefer to do it, and the reason I got with this organization, a great organization, Phil's a great person. They train the veteran to train their dog. That way there's an accomplishment feeling in the veteran, seeing that the dog, where the dog started out at to where the dog's at now. And I mean, there's no greater joy in the world than to see the accomplishment of a veteran. What can I say? Fuck.
Well, guys, it's been an emotional ride. If you are a veteran or in need of a service dog and want to consider your dog or need training, we will definitely have Rick and Jamie's organization information after this. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Dogs. We're here in Gonzales Park this evening, And before we get into our viewer mail, I want to go over a distinction between loose leash walking and heeling. Loose leash walking is when you take Rover out for his daily walk and he's nice and slack on the leash. There's a little loop between you and him and he's behaving like a good boy and you're just walking down minding your own business, no pulling, no nothing. Heeling is when you have that sudden distraction or a jogger coming your way and you need to get him closer to you and have his attention on you 100%. So then you tell him to heel until that distraction passes by, and then you just simply break that command by saying break or okay, good boy, and let him have his lead again and go back to the loose leash walking. Just wanted to clarify the difference between those two. Anyway, for our viewer mail today, we have an email from Brenda that says, I am epileptic. My disability is unseen. I have a service dog that detects the onset of a seizure, and when I go out, I put his red "Service dog, please don't pet me, I'm working" vest on him. Yet it never fails, someone just waltzes up to us and starts petting Dodge, and usually without even asking me or acknowledging me. What can I do to get the word out that he is a working dog on the job, and my life depends on Dodge's attention being on me 100%? I think many people know that service dogs are working dogs, but I don't think it registers to a lot of people just how important it is for that dog's focus to be on you so completely. What exactly does it mean when you see someone out with their service dog, whether it be in a grocery store or in a restaurant or a park? Basically, it means that that dog is working. It means no petting. It means no talking to the dog. No saying his or her name, which may be written across its attire. No eye contact. No action in any way whatsoever to get that dog's attention. That dog needs to be focused on his or her handler totally and completely without anyone trying to distract it. Why? The simple answer is that that dog is there to keep his person alive, safe. When the dog is distracted, he's not paying attention to the handler. And if he's not paying attention to that handler and a sudden seizure strikes, the person is definitely on the floor, dropped, could injure him or herself during the fall. Whereas if the dog had been paying attention, it would have noticed the onset beforehand and alerted the handler to go ahead and have a seat or to lay down that this is coming on. There are many different types of service dogs. Guide dogs basically are the handler's eyes. They help navigate throughout the world, the turns, the curbs, steps, whatever they may have trouble seeing. Mobility assistance dogs, they perform tasks such as picking up dropped items and help pull the wheelchair if necessary. There's also medical alert dogs. These are, like we mentioned earlier, if an epileptic person is walking with their dog and it senses the oncoming of a seizure, it can alert the handler to go ahead and have a seat or go ahead and lay down to minimize any injury that would occur should they suddenly fall. You also have the psychiatric service dogs. These are, I would say, more common with your veterans and post-traumatic stress disorder. There's also some for anxiety and other psychological disorders. These can basically detect the spike in the heart rate or the adrenaline that courses through its handler's body and can do whatever it was trained to do, whether it's pressure points or some type of touch warning to start calming that person back down. With PTSD, these dogs do a range of things for their handlers. They can wake them up should they be having night terrors. They can fetch medicine. They can help distract them when they start having that anxiety attack or that PTSD episode in a public situation that could hinder their normal daily operations. That's what the dog is there to help with. There's some things that you need to know about service dogs. Number one, the dog is working. Number two, the service dog is the handler's lifeline. 3, the handler's medical history is private. It's none of our business. Number 4, the handler doesn't always want to ask questions, nor is he or she obligated to do so. Number 5, not all service dogs are the same. You can say, I've seen service dogs range from a small little Yorkie to a 120-pound German Shepherd. It doesn't matter. It's what that dog is trained to do. Number 6, note that the service dog is loved. It's not working 24/7. Just like us, it has a job. It works so many hours a day, and it gets a break when another loved one can come in and help take over the duties. Number 7, whether we like it or not, that dog is medical equipment. And as medical equipment, it is protected by law. A service dog can go into the restaurant. It can go into the grocery store. And no, the handler doesn't have to tell why it's there. There is no certification required, but a true service dog undergoes thousands of hours of training and socialization. You're not going to pick up a dog off the street or out of a shelter, spend a week training it, and then throw a service dog vest on it and pass it off as a service dog. A true service dog, you can definitely tell from those that are being passed off as such. Service dogs are not cool, and you shouldn't wish to have one. The handler most likely wishes he or she didn't need it either. I bet you 9 out of 10 or even more odds that person wishes their dog was just simply their companion and not a life-saving equipment or necessary for him to be with that person 24/7 to alert to some type of medical condition. So before you rush up to just any dog you see, they don't have to wear service vests. They don't have to have an identifying leash or collar. Please, 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 always ask the handler, is it okay for me to pet your dog? Before you just go up to them and start doing so. You wouldn't want anyone petting your child, and you really never know for a fact if that dog is working or has a job, or if it is just simply a companion dog there for you to enjoy as well. So until next time, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About Dogs.